Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something absolutely fascinating. We're going to be deconstructing the massive, audacious ambition of the world's largest furniture retailer as they enter one of the world's most complex, diverse, and rapidly growing markets. We're talking, of course, about IKEA's entry into India. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a marketer, or just someone who really loves Swedish meatballs, this is a masterclass in global strategy meeting local reality. And we are going to break down exactly how they are attempting to pull off this truly monumental retail feat.
Think about it. How on earth do you sell DIY flat-pack furniture to a country that literally prefers local carpenters? That right there is the core narrative tension of this entire explainer. You know, IKEA built a massive global empire on a very specific model. You go to the store, you pick up a flat box, you take it home, and you build it yourself. But India has this deeply ingrained do-it-for-me service culture. When you need furniture in India, traditionally you hire a local carpenter to custom build it for you, or you just buy it fully assembled. Overcoming this immense cultural barrier, well, that is the ultimate puzzle IKEA had to solve.
Now, IKEA's global mission is pretty simple. It's providing affordable, stylish, and sustainable home furnishing solutions for everyday living. But here's the secret. To actually make this work in the Indian market, practically every single word in that statement had to be carefully, deliberately reinterpreted for the Indian consumer. I mean, affordable means something entirely different in Mumbai than it does in Stockholm, right? And everyday living, that looks totally different in a compact Bangalore apartment.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap. We're going to cover the Swedish giant's entry, targeting the consumer, the localized marketing mix, creating an omni-channel experience, the roadblocks and local competitors, and finally, their blueprint for success.
All right, Section 1. The Swedish giant enters India, breaking ground.
So this journey started years before the doors even opened. But the really monumental milestone was in 2018, when they opened their very first physical store in Hyderabad. And why India? Well, the data made it undeniable. Rapid urbanization, rising disposable incomes, and an increasing rate of home ownership made India an incredibly lucrative strategic growth market. Following Hyderabad, we've seen this rapid expansion to Navi Mumbai and Bengaluru. Plus, they've supplemented all of this with online operations across many other cities. It is a massive, massive logistical rollout.
Now, the most important number in this entire story is 100. That stands for 100% foreign direct investment or FDI approval in single-brand retail. Prior to this pivotal government policy shift, foreign retailers faced massive restrictions in India. Getting that 100% government green light was the absolute, undeniable prerequisite that made this entire multi-billion-dollar expansion legally and financially possible.
Moving right along to Section 2, targeting the Indian consumer, finding the fit.
IKEA is casting a wide but highly strategic net here. They're specifically targeting the 22 to 50-year-old demographic. We're talking about middle and upper middle income families, young professionals moving to urban centers for tech and corporate jobs, newly married couples setting up their first homes, and of course, millennial and Gen Z buyers. And what unites all these people? Well, they are value conscious, they desperately want modern living spaces, and hopefully they have the patience to survive assembling a bookshelf together.
And this brings us to a really crucial concept, psychographic segmentation. It's not just about age and income, It's about lifestyle and values. Imagine a newly married couple living in a bustling Tier 1 city. They're on a tight budget, but they want their home to look good for Instagram. They're environmentally conscious, and they live in a pretty small apartment. IKEA isn't just selling them a chair. They are selling them a modern, space-saving lifestyle that aligns perfectly with their values and their wallets. It's a brilliant emotional connection.
Section 3. The localized marketing mix, adapting the 4 Ps. You simply cannot just drop a standard European product catalog into India and expect it to sell. While the global model pushes standard cookware and really large furniture, the localized Indian IKEA introduced cookware specifically for Indian cuisine. Think tawas and spice boxes. They also focused heavily on space-saving modular furniture to fit compact urban apartments, along with specialized local storage solutions. And this brilliantly illustrates how they adapted their physical products to the local reality. And that adaptation continues right into the store experience itself. They designed a totally immersive customer journey. First, you walk through fully furnished room displays so you can actually visualize the products in a real-life setting. Then, when you inevitably get hungry, the famous IKEA restaurant doesn't just serve Swedish meatballs. They serve local Indian dishes too, like samosas and biryani. They provide children's play areas, and they offer dedicated home planning services. Why do all this? To make the massive store welcoming, family-friendly, and to encourage you to basically spend half your weekend there.
Okay, Section 4.
creating an omni-channel experience, bridging the gap.
Look, India is a massive geography. You literally cannot build a huge megastore in every single city right away. The solution? Seamless omni-channel shopping. IKEA uses their physical megastores as anchors, sure, but they heavily integrate them with mobile apps, robust online ordering, home delivery, and smaller click-and-collect planning studios in select cities. This essentially allows them to expand into Tier 2 cities digitally before committing to massive real estate investments, perfectly bridging the gap between physical touch and feel and digital convenience.
Which brings us to Section 5, Roadblocks and Local Competitors, the Battleground. The competition here is intense, and it comes from three major categories. First, you've got domestic furniture brands like Godrich Interior, Pepperfry, Urban Ladder, and Home Center. IKEA counters them with highly affordable pricing and unique Scandinavian design. Second, you have hardware players like Hedek, where IKEA leans on its sustainability and hyper-efficient global supply chain. But the third category is absolutely the biggest, the unorganized sector. We are talking about local carpenters. This is the traditional way Indians buy furniture. IKEA fights this by offering a strong, unbeatable in-store experiential marketing journey that a local carpenter simply cannot match.
But the external landscape isn't the only challenge. Consumer habits are a massive hurdle. Building massive stores in India means dealing with crazy high logistics and real estate costs. Plus, you have fluctuating raw material costs to manage. So, the crucial point here is the cultural hurdle. It's that consumer preference for fully assembled furniture. The traditional DIY assembly model simply does not appeal to a huge portion of the Indian customer base.
And finally, Section 6, the blueprint for success, the winning strategy.
So how do they pull this off? First, to combat high costs and keep those everyday low prices, they're sourcing heavily from Indian manufacturers, which is great because it supports local industry. Second, they are relentlessly designing for compact Indian homes and local tastes. Third, they really lean into their brand strength of sustainability and renewable materials. But the real game changer? It's the fourth point. They actually compromised on their strict global DIY model. They added crucial assembly and installation support services. They effectively solve that do-it-for-me cultural barrier, while keeping their affordable pricing structure totally intact.
And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway of this explainer. Global scale requires hyperlocal execution. IKEA's brand might be instantly recognizable worldwide, and sure, their supply chain is global, but their success in India hinges entirely on how well they understand local spice boxes, local real estate constraints, and the local preference for a carpenter over an Allen wrench. They didn't just force their way in, they adapted.
I want to leave you with this question to chew on. As India's middle class continues its explosive growth, will this unique blend of Swedish design and deep local adaptation completely redefine how an entire nation furnishes its homes? Only time will tell, but their blueprint is undeniably fascinating. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep an eye on this incredible retail experiment.